Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Nityananda Chandram Patita Sharanadam Gauradam Tam Bhajeham Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shirvasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरये नस्तप्रेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवती सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 2. Daksha curses Lord Shiva. Vidura uvacha भवेसि लवतां श्रेष्ठे दक्षो दुहित्रवत्सलः विद्वेषम् अकरोत् कस्मात् अनादृत्यात्मजां सतीम्.
Vidur inquired, why was Daksha, who was so affectionate towards his daughter, envious of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the gentle? Why did he neglect his daughter Sati?
कष्टं चराचर गुरुं निर्वैरं शान्तविग्रहम् आत्मारामं कथं द्वेष्टि जगतो दैवतं महत्.
Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity, is a peaceful personality, and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality?
एतद्दाख्याहि मे ब्रह्मन् जामातुः स्वसुरस्य च विद्वेषस्तु यतः प्राणां तत्यजेदस्य जांसति.
My dear Maitreya, to part with one's life is very difficult. Would you kindly explain to me how such a son-in-law and father-in-law could quarrel so bitterly that the great goddess Sati could give up her life?
मैत्रेय उवाच पुरा विश्वसृजां सत्रे समेताः परमर्षयः तथा मरगणाः सर्वे सानुगामुनयोज्ञयः.
The sage Maitreya said, in a former time, the leaders of the universal creation performed a great sacrifice in which all the great sages, philosophers, demigods, and fire gods assembled with their followers.
तत्र प्रविष्टं श्रीशयो दृष्ट्वार्कम् इव रोचिषा बृहजमाणं वित्तिमिरं कुर्वन्तं तन्महत्सदः.
When Daksha, the leader of the Prajapatis, entered that assembly, his personal bodily luster as bright as the effulgence of the sun, the entire assembly was illuminated, and all the assembled personalities became insignificant in his presence.
उदाते स्तन् सदस्यास्ते स्वधिस्नेभ्यः सहाज्ञया ऋते विरिञ्चां सर्वं च तद्भाषाक्षितचेतसः.
Influenced by his personal bodily luster, all the fire gods and other participants in that great assembly, with the exceptions of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, gave up their own sitting places and stood in respect for Daksha.
सदसस्पतिभिर्दक्षो भगवान् साधु सत्कृतः अजं लोकगुरुं नद्वा निशसाद तदान्यया.
Daksha was adequately welcomed by the president of the great assembly, Lord Brahma. After offering Lord Brahma respect, Daksha, by the order of Brahma, properly took his seat.
Thank you very much. You just go to a quick description of the first 7 texts. Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. Oh, over to you, Surinder Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Dandavat to all the Vaishnavas. Nitai Gaur Hari Gaur.
Haribol.
So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 2. And the title is Daksha curses Lord Shiva. So Daksha enters the assembly, verses 1 to 7. Vidura inquired how Daksha could be inimical towards the gentle, non-envious, peaceful, and greatest of the devatas, Lord Shiva, which would cause Sati to give up her life. Maitreya explained that at a great sacrifice organized by the leaders of the universe, Daksha, the leader of the Prajapatis, entered the august assembly, this personal bodily luster, as bright as the effulgence of the sun, and was honored by all the great sages and demigods, who all stood up to greet him, except Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who remained seated. Yes, so a few lessons to be learned from this Leela. So Lord Brahma is senior. It is said that he was the president of that assembly organized to do a great sacrifice. And therefore, he was the president and most senior. So he didn't need to stand up and to greet Daksha. And Lord Shiva, he is known to be Vaishnavanam Yathasambhu, or the great Vaishnavas, devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. And also he is Mahadev, great among demigods. He's the great demigod Mahadev is known, and therefore, because of his spiritual status, Lord Shiva also he didn't commit an offense when he didn't stand up to greet Daksha. And it will be said, it will be explained that Lord Shiva, in fact, is always meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Daksha entered the assembly, Lord Shiva offered obeisances to the Paramatma situated in the heart of Lord Daksha. In this way, he was in the transcendental plane and doing his Krishna consciousness in this way. Now, a few points to understand that. One time there was a question put forward to our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. And the question was as follows. Someone asked that, Gurudev, can we chant Hare Krishna while driving a car? And then Gurudev answered, yes. And there was a pause, and then everybody smiled and was happy to hear this, that yes, we're driving a car, we can chant Hare Krishna, etc. And after that, Gurudev mentioned, but one should be very careful while chanting Hare Krishna while driving, that we should not get involved in any car accident. To avoid an accident, we should be cautious as well. So the point is that when we are practicing our Krishna consciousness, at the same time, when we are interacting with people in an assembly, there are so many people attended the sacrifice, big sacrifice, which like Daksha and all the devotees were present. So in this way, we have to consider that for us, lessons learned is that we have to consider the social etiquettes. So like Daksha is a father-in-law and Lord Shiva is a son-in-law. So according to social etiquette, the son-in-law need to stand up and go to greet the father-in-law. That's the social etiquette. And but in this case, like Lord Shiva was absorbed in meditation in the Paramatma form of in the heart of Lord Daksha. So in this way, he didn't stand up to greet Daksha, even though Daksha is his father-in-law, and therefore Lord Shiva becomes subordinate in the social status wise. So in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has explained that while we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we should not become negligent in our social etiquette, social duties. That's explained by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. So the lessons learned is that, of course, Lord Shiva, he may do whatever he wants to do, and he's a great devotee of Lord Krishna. But for us, the lessons learned is that when our father-in-law is coming, as son-in-law, we should stand up and go and greet the father-in-law. This is a social etiquette. We should not be neglectful in that. And as it will follow, you see, the great wars first starts in the minds of people. So in this way, Daksha felt offended, and then he started rebuking Lord Shiva, criticizing Lord Shiva in the assembly. In this way, Daksha committed great offense towards Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva tolerated, and he left that assembly after tolerating. But in this way, this conflict began. First, it begins in the mind, and then it escalates, becomes something verbal. And then after that, action. It becomes into action. Even now, these great wars happening in the world between Russia and Ukraine. First, these started in the minds of these people. And then now it is in action, these things happening. So these are lessons learned, and by grace of Guru and Gauranga, the lessons we learn, we have to put into practice. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Very good explanation. So up to number 19 now.
प्राणिशन्नमृदं दृष्ट्वा नामृच्छत् अनादृतः उवाच वामं चक्षुर्भ्याम् अभिवीक्ष्य दहन्निव.
Before taking his seat, however, Daksha was very much offended to see Lord Shiva sitting and not showing him any respect. At that time, Daksha became greatly angry, and his eyes glowing, he began to speak very strongly against Lord Shiva.
श्रूयतां ब्रह्मर्षयोमि सह देवाः सहाज्ञयः साधूनां ब्रुवतो वृत्तं नान्यायान्न च मत्सरात्.
All sages, brahmanas, and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the members of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy.
Ayam tu lokapalanam yashonyo nirapatrapaha sadbhir acharitah pantha yena stabdhena dushitaha.
Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of the governors of the universe and has polluted the path of gentle manners.
Hmm.
Because he is shameless, he does not know how to act.
Mm.
Esha me sishyatam prapto yanme duhituragrahit panim viprangi mukhatah savitriaiva sadhuvat.
He has already accepted himself as my subordinate by marrying my daughter in the presence of fire and brahmanas. He has married my daughter, who is equal to Gayatri, and has pretended to be just like an honest person.
Mhm.
गृहीत्वामिर्गसावाक्ष्याः पाणिमर्कटलोचनः प्रत्युत्थानाभिवादार्हे वाचापि अकृतनोचितम्.
He has eyes like a monkey's, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of a deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words.
लुप्तक्रियाया सूचये मानिने भिन्नसेतवे अनिच्छन्त्यपि यदां बालां शूद्रायेवोसतिं गिरम्.
I had no desire to give my daughter to this person, who has broken all rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations, he is impure, but I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just as one teaches the messages of the Vedas to a Sudra.
प्रेताभासेषु घोरेषु प्रेतेर्भूतगणैर्वृतः अतत्युन्मत्तभन्नन्यो व्युक्तकेशो हसन्रुदन् चेत्ताभस्मकृता स्नानः प्रेतशन्रष्टिभूषणः शिवापतेषु ह्यशिवो मतो मत्तजनप्रियः पतिः प्रमथनाथानां तमो मात्रात्मकात्मनाम्.
He lives in filthy places like crematoriums, and his companions are the ghosts and demons. Naked like a madman, sometimes laughing and sometimes crying, he smears crematorium ashes all over his body. He does not bathe regularly, and he ornaments his body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, only in name is he Shiva, or auspicious. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature.
Oh my
Thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in the gross mode of ignorance, and he is their leader.
goodness.
तस्मान्मादनाथाय नष्टशोचाय दुर्हृदे दत्ताभट्टमया साध्वी चोदिते परमेष्ठिना.
On the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him. Although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things.
मैत्रेय उवाच विनिन्द्यैव्यं स गिरीशम् अप्रतीपम् अवस्थितम् दक्षोत्थाप उपस्पृश्य क्रुद्धः सप्तुं प्रचक्रमे.
The sage Maitreya continued, Thus, Daksha, seeing Lord Shiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth and cursed him in the following words.
Ayam tu devayajana indropendradibhirbhavaha saha bhagam nalabhattam devyairdevaganadhanaha.
The demigods are eligible to share in the oblations of sacrifice, but Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all the demigods, should not have a share.
निषीध्यमानः स सदस्य मुख्येर् तक्षो गिरित्राय विसृज्य शापम् तस्मात् विनिष्क्रम्य विविद्धमन्योर् जगाम कौरव्यनिजं निकेतनम्.
Maitreya continued, My dear Vidur, in spite of the requests of all the members of the sacrificial assembly, Daksha, in great anger, cursed Lord Shiva and then left the assembly and went back to his home.
Okay, so let's have a look at the summary of these verses.
Hare Krishna.
Hey.
So, Daksha curses Lord Shiva, verses 8 to 19. Daksha, his eyes glowing, was greatly angered because Shiva, his son-in-law, did not rise out of respect or say any sweet words to greet him. Due to previous envy of Shiva, Daksha accused Shiva of being mad, ill-mannered, shameless, dishonest, inauspicious, dirty, and mad. Daksha then cursed Shiva to never get a share in the sacrificial oblations, and then he stormed out of the assembly. The few things to note is that it is said that anger is seen in the eyes. So when somebody is very angry, it manifests in the eyes. It becomes like red, big eyes, glowing eyes. So that happened with Daksha. He became very angry. And because, in fact, Daksha, he defended himself. He addressed the assembly and he said that he's going to speak not out of ignorance or envy. But if we observe that the Daksha, in fact, was very much ignorant and envious of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Vaishnavam Yathasambhu. And instead of appreciating the great divine qualities of Lord Shiva, because of his being envious of Lord Shiva, he was harboring these bad ideas, and as he expressed all these negative things out, like he vomited all his bitterness. Yes, in this way, and being very much disrespectful towards Lord Shiva, also in the assembly of great personalities like Lord Brahma and other great demigods and sages. And that was a big offense. Like one can commit Vaishnava pride by mind and by words and by action. So here we see that the Daksha has spoken very badly, offensively, and rebuking and criticizing Lord Shiva, whereby instead of appreciating the good qualities of Lord Shiva, and he, because out of his ignorance and envious nature, he became very much offensive. And Gauranga Mahaprabhu has emphasized in Shikshastakam, he says that Trinadapi Sunichana Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So one should be very humble, tolerant, and respectful, and do not expect honor in return. So in this way, we see that Daksha didn't follow such an advice which is expressed in the scriptures and has been emphasized by Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Shikshastakam. So lessons learned is that we should never commit Vaishnava aparadh, neither by mind, nor by words, nor by action. Instead of Vaishnava aparadh, we should do Vaishnava seva. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Thank you very much.
So there was just this one paragraph that came after the picture. Shiva had accepted the insults of Daksha as indirect praise. So these are the great Vaishnavas, devotees. Any insult, they actually don't take it as an insult. This is the most amazing thing about Vaishnavas. E.g. mad, because Daksha called him mad. So Shiva accepted, yes, I am mad with love for God, prem for the Lord. Even the curse was a blessing as a great Vaishnava. It is not befitting for Lord Shiva to have the fruits of sacrifice along with other demigods. Yes, he was cursed that you won't get the share of the results of the sacrifice. Yes, that's good. For Lord Shiva, he's not a demigod. He's more than a demigod. So in that way, Lord Shiva didn't take those offenses or curses as an offense, which is the true nature of a devotee. You know, he doesn't. He's very, very magnanimous.
Yeah, so in this way, Lord Shiva has shown that he was very tolerant.
Tolerant, yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So now up to 26.
विज्ञाय सापं गिरिसानुगाग्रणी नन्दीश्वरो रोषकषाय दूषितः दक्षाय सापं विससर्ज दारुणम् ये चान्वमोदं स्तथवाच तां द्विजाः.
Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red and he prepared to curse Daksha. And all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words.
याये तन्मर्त्यमुद्दिश्य भगवती अप्रतिद्रुहि द्रुह्यति अन्यपृथग्दृष्टिस्तत्वतो विमुखो भवेत्.
Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing in duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge.
गृहेषु कुट्टधर्मेषु सक्तो घ्राम्य सुखेच्छया कर्मतन्त्रं वितन्नुते वेदवाद विपन्नधिः.
Pretentiously, religious household life in which one is attracted to material happiness and thus also attracted to the superficial explanation of the Vedas robs one of all intelligence and attaches one to fruitive activities as all in all.
बुद्ध्या पराभिध्यायिन्या विस्मृतात्मगतिः पशुः श्रीकामः सुस्त्वत्वितरां दक्षो बष्टमुखोचिरात्.
Daksha has accepted the body as all in all. Therefore, since he has forgotten the Vishnupada or Vishnugati and is attached to sex life only, within a short time he will have the face of a goat.
विद्या बुद्धिरविद्यायां कर्ममय्यामशोजदः संसरान्त्वयि चामुम् अनुसर्वावमानिनम्.
Those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are nascently involved in fruitive activities. Such men have purposely insulted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death.
गिरः श्रुतायः पुष्पिन्या मधुगन्धेन भूरिना मथनाचोन्मथितात्मानः सन्मुह्यन्तु हरद्विषः.
May those who are envious of Lord Shiva, being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises, and who have thus become dull, always remain attached to fruitive activities.
सर्वभक्षार्थ च विद्यै विद्या तपोव्रताः वित्तदेहेन्द्रिया रामा याचका विचरन्त्यः.
These brahmanas take to education, austerity, and vows only for the purpose of maintaining the body. They shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. They will acquire money, begging from door to door, simply for the satisfaction of the body.
Hey, thank you. Oh, you must be on mute, Savindra Prabhu.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hare Bol. Just computer just suddenly.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I had to start again. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem.
Yes, so Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hare Bol. So Nandishwar curses the Brahmanas. And Nandishwar, one of Shiva's main associates, was furious at Daksha's behavior and that of the Brahmana priests who tolerated Daksha's insulting of Shiva. He cursed Daksha, who was too attached to sex life, to get the head of a goat, and the Brahmanas to remain materialistic and continue in the cycle of birth and death. Yes, so it is said that when Nandishwar his master is Lord Shiva. So when he heard his master being criticized, that big offense being committed by Daksha towards Lord Shiva, who is a master of Nandishwar, so it was appropriate for Nandishwar Prabhu to react. It is said in the scriptures that if there is a Vaishnava aparad, there are 3 steps to be taken. First is that one, if cannot explain or clarify and sort of rectify the problem, then one should close ears and go away from that place. Second is that one should debate and try to correct the other person who is committing the offense and make them understand the proper concept, and ultimately the opposing party will end up like apologizing, etc. if they are a bit have some common sense and scriptural understanding. Third one is it is depending on the severity of the offense. In the previous ages, one would chop that offender's tongue and kill the person and also commit suicide, which this third one is not applicable in Kali Yuga. We're not allowed to like chop anybody's tongue and kill him and kill ourselves. No, this is not applicable in Kali Yuga. But the others too, like to convince the offensive party with debate and from reference from scriptures to explain that the opposing party was at fault, they should apologize and rectify. Or the other one option is to close the ear, and then go away from that place. So the Brahmana is sitting there they didn't take such action when Lord Shiva, great devotee, Vaishnavam Yathasambhu, was being insulted by Daksha. At least they should have closed their ear and leave that place. They didn't do so. Neither they tried to correct Daksha by argument and references from scriptures to convince Daksha that he was at fault. He should not behave like that.
Mm.
So in this way, because they failed to react in this way, so Nandishwar, he took the proper action and he counter curse Daksha and the Brahmanas. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. So now it's to the end.
तस्यैवं वततः सापं श्रुत्वा द्विज कुलाय वै भृगुः प्रत्यसृजति चापं ब्रह्मदण्डं दुरत्ययम्.
When all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishvara, the sage Bhrigu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahminical curse.
भवव्रतधरा ये च तान् समनुव्रताः पाषण्डिनस्ते भवन्तु सच शास्त्रपरिपन्थिनः.
One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental scriptural injunctions.
नष्टशौचामुद्धधियो जता भस्माष्टिधारिणः विशन्तु शिवदीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवम्.
Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hair on their heads. When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh, and other things.
ब्रह्मः च ब्राह्मणांश्चैव यदि यूयं परिनिन्दता सेतुं विधारणं पुंसाम् अतः पाषण्डमाश्रिताः.
Bhrigu Muni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of Vedic principles, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism.
एषा एव हि लोकानां शिवः पन्थः सनातनः यं पूर्वे चानुसन्तष्टुर्यत् प्रमाणं जनार्दनः.
The Vedas give the eternal regulative principles for auspicious advancement in human civilization, which have been rigidly followed in the past. The strong evidence of this principle is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is called Janardana, the well-wisher of all living entities.
तद्ब्रह्म परमं शुद्धं सतामृत्म सनातनं विगर्य यातपाषण्डं दैवं वो यत्र भूतरात्.
By blaspheming the principles of the Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of the saintly path, certainly you followers of Bhutapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt.
मैत्रेय उवाच तस्यैवं वदतः शापं भृगोः स भगवान् भवः निश्चक्राम ततः किञ्चित् विमनायैव सानुगः.
The sage Maitreya said, When such cursing and counter-cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples.
तेऽपि विश्वसृजः सत्रं सहस्रपरिवत्सरान् संविधाय महेश्वास यत्र ऋषभो हरिः.
The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidur, all the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years, for sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead.
आप्लुत्यावर्भृतं यत्र गङ्गा यमुनयान्विता विरजेनात्मना सर्वे स्वं स्वं धामययुस्ततः. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My dear Vidur, carrier of bows and arrows, all the demigods who were performing sacrifice took their bath at the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna after completing the yajna performance. Such a bath is called Avapratha Snan. After thus becoming purified in heart, they departed for their respective abodes. Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. So, let's go to. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes. Now, Bhrigu curses the Shaivites, verses 27 to 35. In retaliation against Nandishwara's curses, Bhrigu cursed the Shiva's followers to become atheists, diverted from Shastric regulations, become addicted to wine, flesh, etc., imitate Shiva by keeping long hair. This cursing and counter-cursing upset Lord Shiva, who silently left the assembly. Lord Shiva feared that Nandishwara may speak badly about Lord Vishnu and his devotees, and so as to stop him and Bhrigu from further cursing and counter-cursing, he left. In spite of the absence of Daksha and Shiva, the other Prajapatis performed the 1,000-year yajna and took their bath at the confluence of Yamuna and Ganga afterwards. So what happens is that Lord Shiva is Vaishnavanam Yathasambho, one of the great Vaishnavas. And therefore in Navadvip Dham, Koladvip, where we have our temple, our Guru Varga have established Lord Shiva's temple there, as Lord Shiva is a guardian of the Dham. So the first arati we do is arati of Lord Shiva. We have Lord Shiva temple with Shiva Lingam there. And then we do parikrama and sing this bhajan. O he Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edashe Koruna Kori. Like that, it goes on like that. So we need some blessing from Lord Shiva to continue our Krishna consciousness, as Lord Shiva is very merciful. And he can give us great help in our Krishna consciousness, as he has already guided and given help to other devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we will follow the Prachetas were given a darshan of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gave them good advice about Krishna consciousness by singing the song sung by Lord Shiva in praise of Lord Krishna. This way, so yes, Lord Shiva, and also Lord Shiva is distributing Krishna consciousness through, it is known as Rudra Sampradaya. Just we are coming through the Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. There is Rudra Sampradaya, there is Sri Sampradaya, and this Kumara Sampradaya. So Lord Shiva Sampradaya is distributing Krishna consciousness. So we will, by getting the blessings from Lord Shiva, we will get great help in practicing, progressing towards Shuddha Bhakti. And in this way, yes, first the conflict started between Daksha and Lord Shiva, and it escalated with the parties now, the followers of Lord Shiva and the supporters of Lord Daksha in the other side. And in this way, the conflict escalated. So it is important that we should avoid having conflicts. We should, as the saying goes, Vishambhara Vishwera Kalyana. If we attain to this platform of making good wishes for one and all by praying in the following manner, that Vishambhara, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, will bestow his mercy and bring auspiciousness in the lives of one and all, then in this way there will be no enmity, there will be no quarrel, no conflict. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur, Hare Gaur. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing wonderful realizations. Thank you. Any questions? Kaushalya Maji or Leena?
No, Prabhuji, was really good one actually.
Yeah. These chapters are wonderful pastimes, and mind you, this is a tough pastime because Lord Shiva is being insulted. But
Yes.
there's good things that come out of the message later on.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Leena, for
Prabhuji.
question. Very beautiful as always. Thank you for reading the English, and Anandalila for reading the Sanskrit.
Well,
And
thank you for giving us the opportunity, Prabhuji.
Surinder for very good realizations. Thank you very, very much. Huh?
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. Nitai Gaur. Thank you.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna.